All right, we're up and running again. It is, what is it? Oh, it's Irish Day. Jeez. Yeah. St. Pat's Day, 17th. Means nothing to me. It's amazing how many people think they're Irish every time this date rolls around. Um, People tell me that what somebody told me to do that they're half Irish. I'm Irish. Yeah, well, when's the last time you've been to Dublin, right? When's the last time were you there? No. Do you have a family back there? You talk to them all the time? Do you travel back and forth? No, you don't. You're not Irish. You're American. It's that simple. So, anyway, hey, great reason to go out and get drunk, right? As a matter of fact, hey, I'll have a beer on that. Okay. Drinking a few. I'm not celebrating, I'm not celebrating St. Pat's Day, but what the hell? I'll have a beer. It's 6 o'clock, so we can do that. What's going on today? Oh, Trump's done it again. He has He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's doing what no one else would do. And I love this. I really do. I mean, I have my critiques about him. I want some people arrested. And you know that. We've said that. I've said that over and over again. I want somebody arrested. Please arrest someone. But nonetheless, I'll put up with that for the time being. It's only been 54 days, something like that. So I will be patient. I'm assuming this is going to happen at some point. Now, he said today for sure that the Epstein list would be released in the next weeks. So we'll see how that goes. Or no, yeah, the Epstein, was it the Epstein list? Yeah, I think that was one of them. And he actually said today the JFK files will be released in the next few days. I think that's great. I mean, did they redact them all and get all the bad stuff out of there? It's a possibility. I don't know. Um, I don't know. There's some things that maybe the country doesn't need to know. I don't know. I'm not gonna quiz him on that. Is it relevant at this point? No. I mean, at the end of the day, is it relevant today that we know what happened in 1963? We all know, anybody that's got two brain cells rubbed together knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that that was a coup. It was a coup. It was orchestrated and you know, I guess basically run by the CIA. It wasn't what the official story said. It wasn't. So is it really going to make any difference? We all know the facts. We do. So having in print, is that going to make a difference? I don't think so. And what will they show us anyway? Maybe we'll learn a little bit more. But the thing is, most of these people are dead anyway. Who cares? I'm more interested in what actually took place in the Las Vegas shooting incident, that mass shooting. Don't know anything about that either, do we? That one's shut down. Guy's supposed to have automatic weapons in what, the 12th story of a building, and shoots into a music festival. And what we're supposed to believe was a lone gunman. I tell you what, there's a lot of lone gunmen in this country. You ever notice that? There's never a conspiracy behind any of it. Oh no, it wasn't conspiracy. It was one lone gunman. FBI, we had our eyes on him. Yeah, right. Whatever. Anyway, getting back to what I was talking about originally, I get sidetracked sometimes, but Trump's on these guys and they don't know what they're doing. The Democrats right now are polling at about 23% approval rating. The Democrats are. It's the lowest in the history as far as they've been keeping track of this. No one's happy with the Democrats, and they are doing nothing but doubling down on everything they've said. They are still pointing at Trump that he's doing away with democracy and the nation is at risk and our republic's going to fall. Same thing over and over again. 23% approval rating. It's horrible. I don't know that you can come back from that. So what's Trump do? He does exactly what you're supposed to do. When you've got a guy down on the ground, you've taken him out. He's not knocked out, but he's down on the ground. You got him right where you want him. What do? You put your foot on his throat. That's what you do. And that's what Trump needs. And that's exactly what he's doing with this latest scandal that's coming up. I don't know if you've heard about it or not. He's claimed, and Trump has said it out loud now, he's claiming that the pardons that Joe Biden signed, the laws that Joe Biden signed, the executive orders that Joe Biden signed, hell, I think even even the MasterCard signatures that Joe signed are illegitimate and were signed by an Autopen. Interesting. Interesting. Now, we all know, if you've got, again, a working synapse, we all knew prior to 2020 that Joe Biden was not playing with a full deck. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure you thought the same thing. I did. I knew it. I've known it for a long time. I thought he was an idiot when he was a vice president. He would shoot his mouth off, say stupid things, had to cover for him constantly. He's not the sharpest pencil in the box. Dumbest man in any room when he walks into it. I've heard that over and over again. Yet he was able to become the president of the United States. And when he did, remember back when he was campaigning in 2019? Remember that? He would give a speech, he would read it off the prompter, get half the words wrong. Remember that? Remember when he repeated the repeat the line? Remember he read that? Okay, all of that. No one was showing up to the rallies he had. Rallies were very, very, very small amounts of people. Actually, there were times when there were more protesters there from the Trump side than there were for Joe Biden. Now, he blew it off. It's no big deal. But the point being was, we could all tell, like I said, as long as you've had anyone in your family who gets older and their cognitive abilities begin to fail to some degree. Doesn't happen to everybody. I know a woman. I went to a birthday party last night. A woman was 96 years old, sharp as a tack, mentally. Of course, her body's slowing down and starting to fail. But I mean, it can be done. Joe Biden's just been an idiot for so long. I don't think anyone really noticed there was a big deal going on. But here's the problem. Well, here's also what's going on. Well, you remember. Will you be quiet? I got a new dog in the house. We just had a vet visit, so he's a little pissed off, and the other one's in the other room, and the cat's not happy. It's yeah, we saw the doctor today, so nobody's happy here at the house. So you may hear him barking. I'm not sure, but anyway, we all knew that this guy was not playing with a full deck. We knew that. Remember the corn pop story? Okay. He was a bad dude, and he went out with a chain and it was some bullshit. Remember that? Or how about the story about the him being a lifeguard and the kids would rub his leg and the white hairs would stand out? I mean, who says things like that? But nonetheless, they stole the election, got him installed, and now we're finding out years later that it's a possibility that he never signed any of these bills. It was done by Autopen. Now, if you're not familiar with Autopen is, somebody signs their signature and it scans it or something, and then from then on, the pen can write it for you. I mean, it's all electronics. It's no big deal. That's a big deal. That's huge. It's possible, and I don't know how far Trump's going to push this, but I mean, I think somebody. Will you stop it? I think somebody. This needs to be taken to the Supreme Court. It really does. Someone needs to make a decision on this, because let's just say, for the sake of argument, and I'm telling you, I don't think this is my imagination, but you know as well as I do that there were times when Joe Biden would show up to an event and he didn't look like the Joe Biden at a different event. Now, what's that mean? I don't know. I'm not an investigator here. All I'm saying is there were times when he appeared taller than the time before. They would take video of him from behind and compare it to maybe a week ago. How's a guy grow 4 inches in a week? Doesn't work. Doesn't happen. Did they have imposters? Did they have people to show up at events because he was, I don't know, out of his mind? Possibly. But the thing is, even if he was, you cannot, I mean, even if he was capable of signing this and knowing, you have to know what you're signing. Let me give you an example. Say you've got a relative. Say it's an uncle you've known your whole life. You've known your whole life. He's got some money. Okay. Let's say there's 4 people in your family, 4 children, and he's going to leave each one of you $250,000 in his will. Okay. Well, he's 88, 89 years old. You go by his house. We all know he's losing his mind. We know it. His doctors said it. Um, Friends of his have said it, that he's starting to lose it. He doesn't know where he's at sometimes, that kind of thing. You go over to his house. You convince him to sign a new will that gives you all the money, the $1 million. You think, okay, you're going to have to hang on just for a second, folks. I'll be right back. All right, I've got that taken care of. Anyway, if you did that in your family, you don't think your siblings would be pissed? Because the argument would be, the legal argument, and I'm no lawyer, but I can guarantee you this. Your other 3 siblings are going to get lawyers, and they're going to say, hey, you took advantage of someone who was had cognitive decline. You took advantage of an old person. You asked them to do something that they didn't even know what they were doing. Same thing here. Is it legal? Is it legal to have an Autopen signature on a bill or an executive order, or more importantly, a pardon? Now I'm going to show you this. They're saying, listen to this. I want you to listen to this because it's interesting, because the Democrats are running crazy right now. They don't know what the hell they're going to do. They've got the lowest approval rating in American history. The Democrats have. Their party may self-destruct and become a thing of the past. They may become the Whigs, okay, of the 1800s. They may just disappear. What are you going to do? No one believes anything you're saying. You have no message. You have no structure. You have no leader. So what are they doing? Trump brings this up. Hey, by the way, it's a possibility, and we're going to look into it, that Joe Biden signing all these laws may have not even been valid. Imagine if we found out that Barack Obama was not qualified to become the president of the United States. What if he was, in fact, born in Kenya? What if that was the case? What if that birth certificate turns out to be false? That may be the next thing Trump tries. But right now, he's working on this one. I find it interesting. I cannot believe this. They must have thought about this quite some time ago. But now the Democrats are just absolutely going batshit. Listen to this now. Look at this.
And a void for the January 6th committee members, but the pardon power in the Constitution for the president is absolute.
It is. And by the way, there's no indication that President Biden signed these with an Autopen. That's what the president.
Did you hear what he just said? He said there's no evidence that the president, Biden, signed these with an Autopen. That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. Listen to this.
President Trump is arguing that these were signed with an Autopen and therefore they're not valid. We don't know that they were signed with an Autopen, but even if they were, it's unclear that that would be an issue. In fact, President Bush back in 2005, the White House did a study on this and determined that even orders signed with an Autopen are valid orders. That proposition's never been tested in court.
Never been tested in court, folks. That's what they're worried about. President Bush can say whatever he wants to. He's an idiot. Never been tested in court. So what they're saying is, here's the problem with that. The Autopen signing means that a person who is not elected, who's working for someone or working for someone who's working for someone, can sign the president's signature to anything. And he's telling me that is valid. No, it's not. No, it's not. You can't do that. You can't do that. That's why, and the reason I know that this is Trump doing this is because he's signing most of these bills and executive orders that he's signing right now are in person. and he's doing it with in his own handwriting. I think that's why. You remember the first night he was inaugurated, and then that afternoon he signed that first bill in right in front of right on camera. Huge pen. So his signature was gigantic. I think they knew this was coming. I think they'd been planning this. That's the only reason I can think of him doing that. And he did it over and over and over again. I think he signed upwards of 70 that day, executive orders, every one of them. And then he would show remember, he would show the signature to everyone. Yeah, they're worried about this. They're worried big time about this. This is going to be a mess. And the thing is, they're trying to tell me that they can't tell whether or not this was signed by a Autopen. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Watch. Okay, there's signatures. One's from his family's pardons, Fauci's pardon. Several of them are pardons. But watch this. Watch this. They're the same signature. And I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You know as well as I do. When you sign your name to something, the signature is never identical. It's close. And the curvatures in that are yours. You know, signatures are not only signatures, it's how you sign it. And there's no way you can get one every single time to be absolutely identical like the last one. So they know that they were signing these with auto pens. It could be some clerk said, "Oh, hey, by the way, we need to pass this bill." Brings the bill in, signs it with his auto pen, passes it on. Or executive orders usually. I'm telling you, this is a big deal. This is a constitutional crisis. If Trump pushes this, which I think he's going to, because I imagine him and the Department of Justice, Pam Bondi, thought about this prior to the election and prior to him being inaugurated. They had plans to do this, to take all of this down. That's going to be a real issue to the Fauci's and the Bidens of the world, and the January 6th people. Adam Schiff is really worried at this point. If this comes down, they have the ability to take him out because he has no pardon. Liz Cheney's the same way. It's going to be interesting, folks. It really is. Hang on just a second here. So what do you think should happen? Seriously, I'm sorry. I was detained by the people that rule the home, and that's the dogs. So, where was I? Oh yeah, the auto pen. And you know as well, there's no way you or I sign the same way every single time. So we know they use an auto pen. And the fact that this guy on CNN is saying that they didn't, it's just an outstanding lie. It's terrible. These people, they know that there was a shadow government, people behind the scenes running the Biden administration. First of all, they stole the election in 2020. Actually, they even started prior to that. They stole the primaries. And then they stole the election. They robbed you and I of what we wanted. That's what they did. They had a puppet in place. This guy, Joe Biden, has wanted to be president since he was 35 years old. He has. The only reason he didn't run in 1976 was because he wasn't old enough. He's run every single time since then. And he's always gotten the boot because people figured it out. They said, "Oh, this guy's an idiot." And in 2020, during the primary season, he came in 5th in New Hampshire. Historically, no one's ever won the presidency if you come in 5th in New Hampshire. It can't be done. Yet, Biden was able to find 18 million votes that just magically appeared out of nowhere. They weren't there the previous election cycle, and they weren't there this election cycle. So 18 million votes came out of nowhere. We don't know where they came from. They were able to install this guy. I guarantee you he didn't have a clue what he was doing. He had less of a clue than you and I even think. This guy was a complete shell. That's all he was. And so when things came up and he needed to sign something, they used this Autopen. So I hope you can't hear that. I got a dog going crazy upstairs. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, still, let me explain what's going on here. We have a new puppy. Well, not a puppy, but he's 2 years old in the house. Got it from a friend of ours. And he's a little confused right now. So he's trying to fit into the system and it takes some adjustment. So just the way it goes. But anyway, I want to read this report for you from actually I'm gonna put it on screen here because it's very important. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, here we go. So it's a report. The plot that thickens on the scandal over who may have been using Biden's Autopen. It says as time goes on, we're getting some better looks at what was really going on in the Biden White House, and it ain't pretty. Turns out the befuddled old Joe Biden was sitting in the Oval Office using all the mental energy at his command to keep his eyes from crossing. Some anonymous staffer was using the old presidential Autopen to sign. Well, everything in the president's name. Says on Friday, an exclusive New York Post piece broke, giving us a better idea of just how much was going on and how little then President Biden seemed to have known about it. It says a key aide to former President Joe Biden may have exceeded his authority by liberally using an Autopen to sign official documents, according to two former White House sources. That's damning, folks. As President Trump's aides set up far more restrictive rules governing the use of the mechanical device, a document obtained by the Post outlines the narrow set of circumstances in which Trump's signature can be affixed to documents. Following controversy this week kicked off by a Heritage Foundation analysis of Biden's signatures on various records, including last-minute pardons. It says a small group of officials under both Biden and Trump have been delegated the power to get documents signed robotically. But 82-year-old Biden's perceived cognitive decline sparked a debate about whether some aides may have assumed his wishes in his final stretch as commander-in-chief. Folks, you can't do that. And you can say what a person can say what they want about, there are a lot of executives that probably, I know a friend of mine, he's got a stamp that's got his signature on it for checks and so forth. That's okay, I would think, because it's a time saver. You can't have Joe Biden signing every single thing that goes out of the White House. I mean, say the Girl Scouts got some kind of accommodation. You don't want Joe doing that. You wouldn't want Trump doing that. And maybe you got 50 of them going out the same day. What, he's going to sit in his office all day long and sign these? No. I understand why you have the Autopen. I'm not an idiot. Of course, that's how you do it. That's what you would do. You would have a staff member who has this, and say there's someone who's 100 years old. Okay, they send out letters to all the people who have turned 100 in the country. I think they get it from the Social Security Administration's records, and they send out a congratulations. Well, you think Joe Biden or Donald Trump signs every one of those? Of course not. It's an Autopen. It's a signature they put on there. No problem with that. I have no problem with that. But if you're going to spend $1 trillion on a bill called the Inflation Reduction Act, I think Joe ought to be the one signing it. How about you? Don't you think that's what should happen? I don't think there should be an Autopen because this guy is not cognitive enough to sign and understand what he's signing. Then he shouldn't be president of the United States. The 25th Amendment should have kicked in. Right? And we actually had a judge say that, hey, this guy can't stand trial. He doesn't know what he's doing. They interviewed him. So is everything null and void? Is everything that Joe Biden signed, as far as pardons and executive orders, are they all invalid? Imagine the disaster if that turns out to be true. Now, what will they do? I don't know. You certainly can't get back the money from the Inflation Reduction Act. You can't do that. But the interesting thing, the most interesting thing, I'm really not that concerned about that. But the most interesting thing are the pardons that he handed out. If those are invalid, then all bets are off. All bets are off. Fauci's in trouble. If they find out that if someone rules that these signatures are not valid because he didn't sign them, especially now, why wouldn't you sign the pardons? Answer me that one. I mean, I can almost see not signing every executive order and every bill. Now, he did sign some in person. I'm not saying he didn't do that. Did he know what was in the bill? I guess we'll never know. I mean, the guy didn't know which side of the stage to walk off of. He needed cards when he was in meetings. I mean, they were telling him, now exit the stage to your left. The guy was a complete mess. We all knew it. We knew it. This guy was not fit to be president. You and I knew it. I've been screaming it for 5 years. In 2018 or 2019, when he said he was going to run for president, I said, this guy's not capable of it. He's an idiot. And there's nothing worse than a cognitively, I guess, diminished idiot. Okay. Because that combination doesn't work. It just doesn't. That means you're a vegetable. You don't know what's going on. You're being led around by the nose. I mean, Jill Biden was the one running the show. And from what I can see, it looks like someone else signed it in person. Some of these things, the signature absolutely doesn't match at all. So someone else was even signing. It wasn't even the Autopen. This is massive, folks. You can't have the shadow government or an entity of any kind running the show behind the scenes. That's not how this country is supposed to work. You're supposed to have an executive official, a commander in chief. Imagine if something had happened while he was in office that required a declaration of war. Are they going to use the Autopen on that? I don't feel safe that way. I really don't. I don't know about you. I truly don't. I think it makes us look third world. It really does. It makes us look like we're second rate. It's like a B movie. It's terrible. It's terrible. It makes us look childish. It makes us look non-professional. And I, for one, don't want that. And I still think that's one of the reasons that Donald Trump was signing these bills in person. And I will say this, his signature looks a lot the same a lot. But I guarantee if you laid them on top of one another, they'd all be different to some degree. But on every one of the pardons, it looks like same guy. Let me run that one again. I want you to see that again because it is interesting because let's put this on here. Look at that. There's 5 different pardons were done. 5 different ones. Watch this. And they all go together. It's the same signature. The very same one. That's not going to work for me, folks. It's just not. I want somebody to go down over this. Now, will a staff member come forward and say this? Sounds like some people within the White House are coming forward and saying, hey, we didn't want to do it at the time, but now that we're out of there, this is what's going on. And this is what happened. I want some sources. I want people's names. That's what I want. I want this to be nailed down because there's going to become other things are going to be coming up in the next little bit. I mean, the Houthis, for one, are saying that the Red Sea's closed. Did you see that? They've been attacking shipping. They're saying no more U.S. shipping coming through. We're going to attack you. Folks, if you know a Houthi, you can tell them that is a fatal mistake doing that. That they're already bombing them right now. I think it's going on right now. The Houthis are going to wish they hadn't done that. Now they got new management, new leadership involved because Trump's taken out several of them. So guys got promotions. So now they're taking a big stand. They're going to do this. I don't think it's a wise move. It's a suicide mission, if you ask me, because you would be better off negotiating with the United States than threatening them like this. It's not a good idea. It's not a good look. It'll get you killed. But imagine that. Imagine if something happened with the Houthis and Joe Biden was in office. You wake him up at 3:00 in the morning. You remember the old thing that what was it? I think it was. Yeah, it was Hillary Clinton said. Who do you want to take that 3:00 in the morning call when something goes wrong? It's a valid point. I mean, I'm no fan of hers. I can't stand her. She should be behind bars, but she had a point there. You want someone who is physically able, mentally able to roll out of bed from a dead sleep and in a few seconds become 100% and know what's going on. You don't want mistakes made at 3:00 in the morning. So does this invalidate everything Joe Biden did? Will this, I guess the final question is, will this invalidate his entire presidency? It could. Will it? It probably won't. But wouldn't it be interesting if the pardons were thrown out, that there is invalid? That alone would make it. Trump's going to be able to turn around everything Joe did. He's in the process of it. He's probably 60% done at this point. He can't change the hatred and the division in the United States. That's going to go on forever. I think, if you're asking me, I think this will always be this way. There's an entire generation of people, and probably probably a little less than half the country, who have Trump derangement syndrome to some level. Now, you either love this guy or you hate him. There's no in between. There's no like, whatever. No. Most people they're on one side or the other. It's like, Red Sox, Yankees. So, will this invalidate everything Biden did? No, it won't. What's going to happen in the future? I don't know. It's going to be interesting because if this goes to the Supreme Court, and I don't know how they're going to do this. I don't know how you attack this. I've never seen this. It's unprecedented. The guy said it himself at the CNN interview with Stephanopoulos. He says it's never been taken to the courts. Oh, we're going to take George Bush's word for it. Yeah, no, I don't think I'd do that either. Because the second dumbest one of all time was W. Talk about a puppet. He was bad too, but he could carry on a conversation. He just did what he was told. This is different. Joe's not even doing what he was told. Joe's just kind of staying out of the way. They put him in a back room somewhere. They say, okay, here's what we're going to do. And there's this, I can just see this. Can't you? They got Joe in a bedroom in a back room, right? Jill's back there messing with him, trying to keep him from shitting his pants or whatever. Trying to keep him from trying to escape. There are people, Alzheimer's units have that where the door rings when you open it because they don't want the older, the people with Alzheimer's escaping. Same thing here. They probably had to put some kind of device on him. For all I know, he was wearing an ankle monitor. I really don't know. They probably had Secret Service watching him, not only around the clock, but probably in the residence, which that typically doesn't happen. So you got this big table, people sitting around it, people you've never heard of, and some you have, probably cabinet members sitting around, shooting the breeze, talking about policies. Here's what we need to do next. And they come up with a bill or an executive order, and they take a big stamp out and go, boom, Joe Biden just signed this. I don't want to work. I don't want to live in a country like that. I don't. That's craziness in my book. That's craziness. That's a puppet regime run by people behind the curtain, and we don't want that. And if that was going on, I think someone should blow the whistle on this. He's blowing the whistle on everything else. Why not this? Give them something else to scream about, to cry about. Word gets out about this. People start becoming aware of this, that there was an Autopen signing of every official act by Joe Biden. They think 27% approval rating for the Democrats. You better look out. It may be in the single digits at some point. Now, will people automatically flock to the Republicans? No, of course not. I think there's a huge, huge contingent of MAGA supporters. I'm no Republican either. I think they're all corrupt. I'm a MAGA guy. I'm a common sense kind of person. I just want you to do what's right, what's best for the country. That's it. That's all I'm asking. Nothing super, nothing, nothing. Just do what's right. Use your head. Use the brain that God gave you, as my grandma said. That's all I can tell you. So this Autopen thing, big deal. Now, will it go anywhere? I don't know. It was on the New York Post was talking about it. Now, mainstream media picks it up. I don't know. Stephanopoulos was doing a show on it on CNN, or I guess that was CNN or MSNBC. I can't remember which one of those low scumbag news places he works for. Doesn't matter. They're all the same anyway. They get their marching orders from the White House and the shadow government. But the point is, somebody's talking about it. They're trying to get out in front of it is what they're trying to do. Did you see how this guy was dismissive about this whole thing? In other words, he was saying, it's no big deal. Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's just a, it's just like, what do you call it? Procedural deal. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's a big deal. And I, for one, want it brought to the forefront. I really do. I think we should need to talk about this. I think there should be a list of things you can have an Autopen sign and things you can't. Because this technology was not available back when the Constitution was written. I think we should make a new rule. You have to sign these pardons, especially bills, especially those two should be automatic. Pardons, executive orders, and actual bills. Not now. They should classify the bills, give them status. The really high ones, things that are a big deal, he should have to sign. He should sit down in front of everybody and sign the bill. We've seen it done 1,000 times. Remember, they'll do it with pens, different pens. They hand the pens out when everybody's celebrating and all that. Barack Obama did that a lot. But Autopen, no. If you want to sign a picture of yourself, sending it out to someone who's requested it through the mail, fine. I got no problem with that. It's a time saver. I see that. But if you're going to sign a bill that's worth $1 trillion, I think you probably ought to be there. And you probably ought to have some idea what you're signing. Yeah. Because Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, said he went in and talked to Biden about a bill that he had signed. Biden claimed he didn't even know what you're talking about. Well, I didn't sign that. Mike said, yeah, you did 2 days ago. Joe had absolutely no idea. I think that was the setup for this whole thing. I really do. And I think that Trump signing these in person in front of the cameras had something else to do with it. So that's just me, but it makes perfect sense. All right, folks, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for listening. And we will see you next time. If you get a chance, pass this along to somebody else. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. All right. That's all I got today. Peace out.